of the great rabbis of yesteryear. Now, it's actually interesting. We are just come out of Tetvav Tevet a few days ago, here in the heart of the middle of the month of the Hebrew month of Tevet. It marked the Hilul then of Rabbi Yakov Harrari Naam, Zechet Tzadik Libracha, very great rabbi of his time. I think he passed away around the time period of 1936, 1937-ish. It was around that specific period. The Hebrew year was Hey Tafresh Tzadik Zayin, I believe. That's when he passed away. He was great Syrian Rabbi who would be actually from Essex, respectively, which we spoke about on various occasions before here inside this series. Now, I believe he was a very, very diligent learner. He would learn Torah or at various different points of time when he got the opportunity, and would seclude himself also with regards to learning Torah. Especially, he was close to very, very great Kabbalists of his point in time. One of the most astoundingly, Rabbi Netanel Chabuba, who was author of the Korban Netanel, a really, really great book of its time. I think he happens to be a rabbi that we've spoken about on various occasions before. Let's say something about just the many, many great stories attaching to Harav Netanel, respectively over here, Chabuba. If you actually look, you can actually see really, really outstanding stories. He was a great rabbi of his time. His Hilula itself, Rav Chabuba, I believe, is on the 9th of Shvat. He was actually buried in Israel, if I'm not mistaken. He also, I think, came from Damascus, and really, really same, let's say, fabric of a background in of itself, and he would begin to learn Torah at a very, very young age. High-level Torah, I think it was. He was learning it Talmud Bavli with Mefarshim only at 8 years of age. A greatness within regards to him. And I think when he was 17 years of age, he would continue going, and he would get a title as a Chacham. He was 19. I think he got married to the daughter of Rav Nissim Sokri, if I'm not mistaken. And really, really progress as time goes on. I think he would go to Eretz Yisrael, to the land of Israel, will be able to study over there. I think, especially at the time period, the Hilul of Rab Meir Bal Hanes to Tiberias, in of itself, will go to the Keva of Rab Shimon Bar Yochai in Meron. And I think he'd be very well traveled also in Syria. He'd go to Aleppo, to Aram Sova on a shlichut, I think, from Damascus, respectively, and doing huge amounts with regards to Torah. And he was close with other rabbis, including Rab Bachor, Yakov Trab, Sultan, Rab Ezra Trab, Sultan. These are great rabbis we just mentioned back in the past few weeks, if I'm not mistaken. Eventually, he would actually himself, the Korban Netanel, he would actually move to Jerusalem, I think, over there, and was known. He was like a main key rabbi of the Damascus community over there at that point in time. And I think he would actually live, if I'm not mistaken, in Nachlat Zion. And I think there was a synagogue over there. I think he was connected to the famous Kabbalistic yeshiva of Bet El, if I'm not mistaken. Also, he was part of a dwelling in the Bukhari neighborhood, where the Bukhari market is, quite near there, and was, I think, part of the Chesed El synagogue, was praying there, and was learning with many of the great rabbis of the famous yeshivat, Rehovat Nahar, over there, especially Rav Chaim Shaul Dweka Kohen. I think he was actually close to also, especially on the Friday night, I think, learning Rabbi Avraham Chaim Adas, also, who was the author of the Torah Avraham, the great Rabbi Yom Tov Yedid Halevi, the Baal Simchat Yom Tov, and various other great rabbis. And obviously, he was the author of the Korban Netanel. So that was a caliber. I was just speaking here for a minute about Rabbi Netanel Chabuba over there, who was a great rabbi. So he was actually close and learning with the rabbi we're speaking about today, Rabbi Yakov Harrari Alna'am. Respectively, so it just shows greatness is it. And I just continue over here. I think they were learning together, if I'm not mistaken, and he was Torah education. The premium was out of Yirat Hashem in of itself. Now he would take on various different positions. I believe one major position Rab Naam actually had was he was a Dayan in the Bet Din of the Midrash of the, I think to pronounce it properly, Chavga Raphael, or Raphael, I believe. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I think that was together with another famous rabbi, Eliyahu HaKohen Sultan Trab and Rav Yosef Dana. These are two really great rabbis of that specific point in time. We spoke about the Trab family on various occasions over here already on this series. That's something that we very much have to point out. And we spoke about, I think, other people from the family, so we didn't necessarily mention Rav Eliyahu so much. And Rav Yosef Dana was another great rabbi of that specific day. He's another rabbi that we did mention about in depth, if I'm not mistaken. I think we actually recorded a video within regards to him. I'll just say another word about Rav Yosef Dana. Actually, I think we recorded a video about a year and a half ago within regards to him. He passed away in 1974. He was a darshan, he was a posek halacha, he was a kabbalist, he was a mohel, he was the head of Jewish court, and really was a central figure of the Jewish community in Damascus in of its time. And he V'Rab Kihila Yotzei Surya Lebanon B'Haifa, I think, if I'm not mistaken. He was actually born, just to say a word about Rav Dana for a couple of minutes. He was born, I think, in the year 1889 in Damascus. And many of the great rabbis, I think, they actually came from Spain originally. They were, and would eventually end up in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, and the family itself would, if I'm not mistaken, branch out to various different places. Also, that's something we have to point out. Eventually, I think they'll go to Damascus, and I think Lebanon also, and Egypt, much of the family was. It's interesting, Rav Yosef Dana, I think he would learn with great rabbis, including Rabbi Yehuda HaKohen, Sultan Trab, rabbi we just spoke about only a few days ago. He passed away in 1946, and would learn along Rabbi Yitzchak Abulafia, another one of the famous rabbis of his time, who was a Dayan in Tiberias and also in Damascus, and the author of the Pnei Yitzchak, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that's, you can see that. I was El Faranj Beit Knesset over there, was giving over drashot, if I'm not mistaken. He was close to Rabbi Abulafia. Especially once Rabbi Abulafia, I think, will go to Tiberias, Rav Dana will take on the position as a head of Jewish court over there, of the Jewish community of Damascus, which was an absolute phenomenal position. And I think it was also close to another great rabbi, Rabbi Nisim Nadvo HaKohen, another great rabbi. I think we spoke about and recorded a video about also. And also Rav Ezra Cohen Sultan Trab. This is another great rabbi who we did record a video, if I'm not mistaken, not so long ago. So I think it actually is going to be Rav Ezra's Kilula also quite soon, if I'm not mistaken. I think actually, to be precise, on the 28th of Shvat, so still in a modest around 6-ish weeks' time. So that's something that we have to point out also within regards to him. I think he was an expert within regards to gematriot, if I'm not mistaken. He was a Kabbalist, he was able to do huge amounts of things in himself. He would be fortunate enough, I think, in the year 1946 to go to Eretz Israel, and was a rabbi representing the community, the Syrian community, as before, I think, and the Lebanese community in Haifa. And he will keep on doing his important works once he came to Eretz Israel. And many stories actually attesting to that. And very different shailot. Many people come to him asking him questions, and from all over the land of Israel. And he would really, I think he was offered various other positions in rabbinate, if I'm not mistaken, at one point in time. He actually passed away in the year 1974 and was buried in the Beit Karot Chof HaKarmel, if I'm not mistaken, in Haifa. And that's very interesting. Rav Yosef Dana actually had great books, including Ze Katav Yad, another great book, the Birkat Yad, the Tzofa Pnei Damasek, and the Kot Yosef. These are great Torah books of its specific day. That's something we very much have to point out with regards to him. Friends, I'm going to take a short 1-minute break. So in the meantime, if you're new to the channel and new to the community, don't forget to subscribe. And we're just going to be back in 1 minute, friends, over here. So please watch your space, and we're back in a minute. Okay, thanks very much for being patient over here as we are exploring the history of a really great rabbi of yesteryear from Syria, respectively, over here. So sorry about the just a short delay. We were just speaking about a few rabbis that he was close to, including Rabbi Yosef Dana and Rabbi Eliyahu HaKohen Sultan Trab. So let's continue now speaking within regards to Rabbi Yakov Harrari al-Naim, or Naam. He was an expert within regards to writing Sifrei Torah, Mezuzot also, and Torah in of itself. So it was a stam, let's say. Tefillin, Mezuzot, Sefer Torah, and I think כל שבוע נהג לבדוק את ספרי התורה בבתי כנסת בדמשק. So he was actually exploring and looking and just investigating the different Sifrei Torah over there also. And so he was known for his great humility. It's as says over here in the My Tzaddik website, actually we're pulling out from over here. נודע בענוותנותו ורבים נהרו לקבל את ברכתו. Many people come to him asking him for blessings, which was absolutely phenomenal within regards to the great Chacham. And I believe he passed away in the year 1936, which is actually interesting, very, very interesting, let's just say, within regards to that. We know that he passed away on, there's actually a good website, which actually under the post, Hodu Lashem Kitov Ki Lam Chaso, they actually posted over here within regards to the greatness of him, and they describe Ishmoram Me'am, and Vatan Me'od Uminahek Bakol Darkei HaChasidut. He was really known as a pious one. Torok Malach Elokim Mukaf Bahara'a Kedusha Tamid, the Mount of Kedusha and holiness. Na'aratz Me'od Al Yedei Kol Anshe Ha'ir Sheyu Meshcharim Livtecho Litbarech Bepiv. Bring out various blessings just from all he says. Migdolai Hadayanim Bebeitin B'Midrash Kevaga Rafa'al. So he was, I think, one of the great, let's just say, Dayans from there. But Savtaim Rabbi Eliyahu Kohen Sultan Trab and Rabbi Yosef Dana, who he was very much close to at that point in time. These are rabbis we mentioned about just beforehand. V'yachat imo shemru b'dabikot al ruach Yisrael Saba shluya et ha'ida me'az b'chinuch ha'yeladim leTorah v'yirat Shemayim. You'd really imbue within regards to great fearness of heaven and from an education point of view. V'amad v'peretz keneged zarim shechziku b'toar rabbanut ובקשור למצוא חן בעיני עמי הארץ בקולות שונות מותאמות לרוח הזמן. I'm just reading this from this הודו להשם כי טוב כי עולם חסדו, this article of it. קרבה מיוחדת הייתה לו עם המקובל רבי נתנאל חבובה, the great rabbi who just mentioned back before we did mentioned a short biography within regards to him. ומו היה מרבה לעשות ולתת בדברי חוכמה. בהיותו בקיא במלאכת סופר, היה בודק מדי שבוע את ספרי התורה, search the Sefer Torah in the synagogue on a weekly basis, as I say, and was really, really be'ir lezachut harabim, who would really try and strengthen the Jewish community over there. Minhag v'tken be'ir damasek, b'tirat echad migdolei rabbanei ha'ir, omed gadol ha'rabbanim v'doresh b'fnei ha'am, divrei kivoshin le'orarem lachazara b'tshuva. I think it was in the year Tafresh Tzadik Dalet. It says, K'shnifta yido Rabbi Eliyahu Sultan Trab, the great rabbi, Zechet Tzadik Bracha, Enei ha'ida ayu nesot el Rabbi Yakov sheisha medbaret kedusha. So it's just really speaking about him. Remember, we did speak, I think, about Rabbi, the Trab family in of itself, which is a very great family of that stage in time, especially in Syria. If I'm not mistaken, we spoke about Rab Yehuda HaKohen Sultan Trab and Rab Ezra HaKohen Sultan Trab, and I believe we did speak about also Rabbi Yakov Baruch HaKohen Yehuda Trab. These were really great rabbis of that specific window of time. So very, very interesting. Hopefully, maybe we'll actually do an entire video trying to, let's just say, explore the history of the entire family. I think that will be very, very good. But let's get back to the great rabbi we're speaking about today. I think it says over here, עיני העדה היו נשואות אל רבי יעקב שאישה מדברות קודשה. אך ביצוא זקן מופלג לא עמדו לו כוחותיו. הוא ביקש מבני של רבי אליהו עליו שם. החכם רבי עזרא שדיבר הוא במקומו. והוא פתח דבריו בתפילה שהקדוש ברוך הוא ירפא את רבי יעקב ברפואה שלמה. בהספדו על רבי יעקב. אמר חכם עזרא שהוא היה גדול הדור ונשיא ישראל, I believe, at that stage in time. And I think he passed away on the 15th of Tevet. And it says, "V'zeh nusach hamatzeva, zekinim misha'ar shivto, zo shekna chokhma, baruch shechelek mechokhmato, v'tzadik bemunato, torato u'munato, asher yoledato gan eden mukhan shabbat. והגיע יעקב חכם השלם בכולל, בישראל הלל הרבה הגדול הדיין המצוין. Rabbi Yakov Yosef Harrari Naam Zichrono Livracha, one of the great rabbis of his time, and very, very interesting. Much can be said also within regards to him, and we are exploring the great rabbis over here. We happen to be here in Damascus territory, here in Syria. And I think very, very important that we speak about the great rabbis of yesteryear. The Sultan Traub family in of itself was also a great family from the Damascus. That's something that we very much have to point out over here. And it's going to be, hopefully we'll record a video on more great rabbis that actually came from this family, because there's much that can be said within regards to that. And I think we've spoken about maybe as many as about a dozen rabbis that actually came from Damascus or had a huge position over there at various points of time. That's something we very much have to point out over here. And this great rabbi was, he would have a key role in those specific positions and those places of that specific point in time. So that is, very, very important to point out. And hopefully we will record more information on more great rabbis that actually came from this specific place. But we were speaking over here about Rabbi Yakov Harrari Naam. Very interesting enough. So he was a great rabbi. He was close with other great rabbis, including Korban Netanel, for example, Rabbi Netanel Chavuva. We spoke about how there was a great bit. He was part of the Jewish court of Chagva Raphael. This was famously in Damascus, in Syria, also respectively. This is another place that I believe we've spoken about on various occasions before here inside this series. So it's very, very, I think, important to bring it out. All these different Beit Midrashes. And I think very, very important, because they had the fabric of many, many of the great rabbis of yesteryear inside that specific place. So that's something that we very much have to point out. So that's interesting. And it's always good to learn information, educate within regards to great chachamim, great rabbis of yesteryear. As we've already spoken, I think, in this series about nearly 1,400 great rabbis that really make their marks on different points of time, which is very, very important, I think, and hopefully we can progress from more and more and more. That's something very much we have to point out over here. And the Jewish community in Damascus actually has a lot of rich heritage we can talk about. There's a lot that you can say about, especially during the 19th and 20th century. Various different happenings occurred all throughout in the Damascus region, let's just say, in of itself. So it was really a core part of the Syrian community. And I think it actually comes even from the 600s, especially in the 19th century. There was a great amount. I think there was huge amounts of really the community after the Jews would get expelled from Spain. I think in the late 1400s, many of them will actually come to Damascus, and it will actually be known as a place thriving with Kabbalah, Torah. It was an important center of Kabbalah, if I'm not mistaken. And we know that there have been many, many great rabbis of yesteryear, that great Kabbalists, especially in Sfat. That was also a great place, let's just say, in itself. But I think also this was one of the main center places outside of Eretz Israel, within regards to great Kabbalists that actually came and did huge amounts, let's just say, in of itself. And, so that's very, very interesting, and something else that we have to point out within regards to the Jewish community in Damascus. I think even Moses Montefiore would actually come there at one stage in time to visit and have involvement, and much has to be pointed out. So there was other great rabbis, especially Rabbi Avram Hamrach, who I think was the last chief rabbi. If I'm not mistaken, Rabbi Chaim Vital also was would spend a window of time in Syria, in this specific area. And it's very, very interesting. I think there was a rabbi named Rabbi Yosef Hamra would visit and explore restore and try and restore the Jewish heritage sites over there, like the ancient Jova synagogue over there, and bring about things. Rabbi Avraham Hamrai, if I'm not mistaken, was the last chief rabbi of Syria, and would do huge amounts. I think he would work with at the time period of the Assad regime over there. He tried to allow Jews to leave Syria from most countries. Don't know if he was able to bring them to Eretz Israel himself, especially in the 1980s. But he was a key rabbi, and maybe a rabbi we should speak about more often. Also, Rabbi Yosef Hamra, who was a former Syrian rabbi, I think left in the 1990s, and would return actually in more recent times with a delegation for reconciliation and heritage preservation. And yet, Rabbi Chaim Vital, as we mentioned before, was a key figure also in the past. He was the disciple of Rabbi Isaac Luria. He settled in Damascus and served as a regional leader until he passed away. Also, I think other famous rabbis, Rabbi Ezra ben Avraham and Sar Shalom ben Avraham, led academies in Damascus, if I'm not mistaken. So that's very, very interesting, and it's, I think, very important to learn about the heritage of various different places also. So, and there was other rabbis, I think, also, especially in the late 1800s at that point in time, that were in Syria, more in Syria, but there was there was rabbis also in Damascus. Let's just say there was Damascus affair, which is probably one of the most famous blood libels would actually take place. This was before, I think, his time in the year 1840, if I'm not mistaken, and I think it fueled huge anti-Jewish sentiment at that point in time, contributed to a Jewish exodus from that specific place. Let's just talk about. So, very interesting. Obviously, there was great rabbis, various different occasions in of itself, and I reckon everyone to look more within regards to that. And very, very interesting. We are over here exploring the rabbis, the heritage. And today it happened to have been within regards to a great rabbi, Rabbi Yakov Harrari Al-Naam, who happens to be here in mid-Tevet, his Hilula. So, don't forget to light candles in his memory. We just passed his Hilula over here, so that's something that we very much have to point out. And, he was a great rabbi of his time. And friends, we're a community here. We explore the history of great rabbis of yesteryear. We've already recorded approximately about 1,450 biographic videos of great rabbanim of yesteryear. So I very much recommend everyone to actually please learn more about the great rabbis. We're going to come back in 1 minute and leave with just a couple more words within regards to the rabbi. Again, just a brief reminder and a synopsis within regards to him. So just wait this minute. If you haven't subscribed yet to the community and to the channel, please subscribe in the meantime to the channel, while we are just going to give an update over here in the meantime. So please, everyone, we'll be back in 1 minute. And please subscribe in the meantime if you haven't subscribed yet. Yes, so friends, sorry about that. Over here, I'm just back. Over here, we explore the life of a great Syrian rabbi from Damascus over here on this special edition. So something very, very special today. It's important to explore the history of the great rabbis of yesteryear over here, and very much we have encompassed that. It's not the first rabbi we've spoken about from Damascus. Respectively, we've spoken about various other great rabbis of yesteryear. Remember, Harrari, I think itself was a common family name that actually came from Syria. That's something else that we have to point out. And he very much epitomized that. And you can just see the greatness, let's just say, there was on various occasions before within regards to the famous Chachamim from those specific areas. So please, if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe now and join our community over here. We also do tours all over Israel, and the project that we are working on, a project that we are very, very proud about. I very much must point out over here, so please don't forget to check out all those videos. We record videos on daily page of the Daf Yomi, a tidbit we do every single day, which is also extremely important and very, let's just say, very, very eye-opening and very, very popular at the moment. So we're actually about to do a siyum, hopefully Be'ezrat Hashem tomorrow, on Masechet Zvachim, which is very, very exciting. So I very much recommend everyone to look into that and, just watch your space also for us. That's just a sneak, let's say, sneak preview within regards to that also. And much, much more we do on the Parshat Shavua, current events. Sometimes we speak about, obviously we're recording these videos. And at the moment, another very exciting project that we are doing is that we explore various countries all over the world we speak about. And while we're doing that, we also explore the rabbinic history there, what were the synagogues like in those specific vicinities, and so on and so forth. So it's it's just a lot of great content and something that we're very, very much proud about over here. So it's great insights, and the tours is definitely one of the most exciting parts, let's just say, of this series, where we especially go to places like Jerusalem all over. We go to the city of Bet Shemesh and we film around there. The different, let's just say, historic sites. We like to go to archaeological sites, and we do some exciting short clips also, we must point out, which is also like a breath of fresh air, let's just say, in of its own right. So there's just so much that we're doing at the moment, so much exciting things, and I urge everyone to, if you can, to join the community and enjoy and educate, and so much more has to be said within regards to that. So very, very exciting. I think on this note, I'm going to wish you all a Shavua Tov. We just came out of Shabbat, Parshat Shemot. We're going to go into Parshat Va'era next week, and that's very, very exciting. We're going to see in this week's Parsha coming the 7 of the 10 plagues in Parshat Va'era. Obviously, it will culminate in Parshat Bo, which is something that we very much have to speak about. And huge amounts of content also coming in to really power weight our week, our day, and just everything in general. I mean, it's very, very exciting. I think it's an opportune time to also weekdays. So we'll just go through this entire, especially the 15th of Tevet. We saw which is the date we were speaking about. Also, there was other great rabbis, Rabbi Hanania Deri, Rabbi recorded about Rabbi Yehuda Berdugo, Rabbi Meir Chaim Chavashush. It was his Hilula also. I think he passed away in 1899 on Zayin Tevet. We spoke about Rabbi Ya'ish Crispin, who passed away in 1939. On Yud Zayin Tevet, we did speak about Rabbi Yitzhak Nunish Lemonti and Rabbi Salmon Mutzafi. There was their Hilulas on that specific date. On Yud Chet Tevet, it was Rabbi David Chaim Korin Aladi, Rabbi Yosef Amado, Rabbi Moshe Kalfon Kohen, great Tunisian rabbi in his date. Yud Tevet represented the Hilula. We record videos, I think, all of these rabbis. Rabbi David Peretz Ben Zriri passed away in 1926. Rabbi Solomon Gaon, who passed away in 1994. Rabbi Said Haddad passed away in 1953. Also, we spoke about Rab Farcha, Marat Farcha, Flora Sassoon, famous philanthropist, a woman. We haven't spoken about many women. Also, Rabbi Raphael Asher Kobo, who passed away in 1874, also on that specific day. And on the Chaf of Tevet, we did speak about Rabbi Eliyahu Kohen and Rabbi Yakov Abu Chatzer, also popularly known as Abir Yakov. And on the 21st of Tevet, which obviously is today, the time of recording, Rabbi Chaim Kadeh Matzliach Mazuz, another great rabbi of his time, Hashem Yikam Domo, who was murdered. And here on the 22nd of Tevet, which is Yom Rishon, it's a Hilul, I think, of Rav Yaakov HaKohen Trav. So that could be the Trav family. We said there was connections, I believe, with the great rabbi. We happen to be speaking about steaky inside this special edition. So that's something we very much have to point out. And friends over here, wishing you all Shavua Tov. Thanks for watching and take care. Have a great day. Thank you.